That early autumn morning, a thin mist covered the entire valley. The sun had not yet risen, but the bells from the newly formed markets were already ringing. These were no longer the makeshift markets along the river, but vibrant, diverse commercial areas, bustling with people from many ethnicities and filled with products from all over. Wooden houses stood in neat lines, the dirt roads were flattened, and colorful shops hung small flags representing each community. The land that once was only forests and rivers had now become the largest trading center in the region. People called it the Crossroads of Light, because 3 major roads from 3 different areas flowed into it, each carrying the cultural light of its community. But this rapid development didn't just bring prosperity. It also opened up a series of new challenges that couldn't be solved with a simple meeting. As commerce became the soul of the city, the sounds of life filled the air. Walking through the Crossroads of Light, you could hear the cries of mountain folk selling their produce, the rhythmic tapping of artisans crafting exquisite jewelry, and the calls of herbalists from distant lands. In that bustling atmosphere, something special was happening. The items for sale were not just material goods, they were the stories of each group of people. A merchant from the sea hung a model boat on his stall and would tell anyone who stopped, "This isn't just a decoration, it represents my ancestors' journey, how they crossed the ocean to find this land." Other merchants shared their own stories, and because of this, the market wasn't just a place for trade, but a living museum where culture spread from one person to another. However, as commerce expanded, competition grew fierce. Many traditional occupations of the indigenous groups were being overshadowed by new products brought by immigrants. On the other hand, some newcomers complained that they were being restricted by old rules established long before they arrived. All prosperity comes at a price, and the price of this newfound diversity was the rise of conflict. A more complex issue soon began to surface: land. As the population grew, everyone wanted land to farm, to build houses, to open workshops. But land was limited, and although people tried to maintain peace, they couldn't avoid asking the hard questions. Who has the right to which plot? Who has the right to expand their territory? At the 9th Open Skies Council meeting, the debate raged for 4 days. A man from the island group argued, "We arrived later, so all the good land was already taken. There must be a way to share." A native elder responded calmly, "We don't want to monopolize anything, but this is the land our ancestors have protected for generations. We just want to preserve the sacred places where we have lived for centuries." Then, a woman from the mountain group spoke up, "If each group just holds onto its own land, we will never grow together." Each point of view was valid, and that's what made a decision so difficult. In the end, the council decided to divide the land based on 3 criteria: the actual needs of each group, their history of living on the land without granting exclusive ownership to anyone, and the creation of common areas for all communities to use. It was a very progressive decision, but not everyone was happy. Some left the meeting disappointed, while others sighed with relief. The truth is, no solution is perfect for everyone. But that is the nature of a federation. Every decision is a process of great compromise. While the communities were busy sorting out their internal problems, news spread across the Crossroads of Light. A group from a land even farther away was heading in their direction. Travelers reported that this group was unlike any that had ever set foot here. They were larger in number. They brought advanced city building techniques the region had never seen, and their goal was to establish a new community right on the border of the existing settlements. The news made many people nervous. The arrival of more newcomers meant more competition for land, more pressure on resources, and most of all, a greater risk of discord. The Open Skies Council called an emergency meeting, not for internal debate this time, but to decide how to welcome the new group. The native elder, who always sought balance, said, "This land has welcomed all of us. They are also people seeking a new home, but we need clear rules to ensure harmony continues." Finally, the council made a momentous decision. The newcomers would be welcomed, but they must abide by a covenant of harmony and respect for diversity. This was a historic step, because it affirmed that this land did not belong to any single group, but to all who were willing to integrate and contribute to the collective peace. When the new group arrived, they brought with them the techniques for building with stone, creating sturdy walls and solid houses. They proposed working together to create a common city not just for themselves, but for all communities. The council agreed, and thus the bilingual city was born. Here, street signs were engraved with 2, 3, even for different sets of symbols. Schools taught children multiple languages, helping them understand and respect their differences from a young age. The largest conference hall in the region was built, a place for groups to exchange cultures, organize festivals, and simply get to know one another. The bilingual city quickly became a symbol of harmony. It wasn't just a place to live. It was a place where people learned to understand and respect each other more deeply. However, along with this remarkable development, a new problem arose. The old rules were no longer sufficient to manage such a large and complex community. Recognizing that the land was entering a new era, more urbanized, commercialized, and diverse than ever before, the Open Skies Council decided to write a foundational document, the Future Covenant. The document had many provisions, but its strength rested on three main pillars. First, respect for multi-ethnicity and multiculture. No group was allowed to impose its culture on another, and all customs were to be protected as long as they did not harm the community. Second, equity in resources and land. All resources from water and land to forests and minerals were declared common property, to be divided according to mutual agreement. And third, freedom of movement and residence. Everyone had the right to travel to any city to study, work, or settle, as long as they complied with the common rules. When the covenant was read aloud during the signing ceremony, the great square in the bilingual city fell silent. Then, a wave of applause erupted, a unified sound from thousands of people, representing dozens of different cultures. It was a moment of profound realization. They were no longer separate communities. They were becoming a true federation. But peace always has a price. The rapid development of the city made some groups feel insecure. They feared their culture would be diluted, their voices weakened by the expansion of the newer communities. A heated debate broke out. Some wanted to expand the city further, to modernize even more. Others wanted to maintain a simpler, more traditional lifestyle. Many were concerned that ancient festivals and customs would gradually disappear. Someone asked, if we blend too much, will our descendants even remember our roots? Another replied, the roots are not in the form, they are in the spirit. In that tense atmosphere, another meeting was held in the bilingual city square. Hundreds of people stood together, listening to opinions from all sides. Finally, the council came up with a compromise. Each city would be allowed to maintain its own traditional festivals, but there would also be a unified festival of nations each year, where all communities would participate together, and schools would be required to teach the history and customs of all groups. This was a great victory, because it ensured that diversity would not be lost as society developed. As dusk falls over the bilingual city, the lights from hundreds of houses begin to shine like tiny stars against the darkening sky. From street corners, you can hear the laughter of children speaking in many different languages, the songs of festivals mixing with the hammers of builders completing new structures. This land has come a long way, from wild mountains to small settlements, from cautious meetings to the Open Skies Council, from land disputes to the Future Covenant, from many scattered peoples to the shape of a united nation. But history does not stop here. The journey to becoming a true nation still has many challenges ahead: issues of territory, law, integration, and even changes from the outside world. The story continues. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey, be sure to subscribe for the next chapter.